Hello, I'm Yesenia Taveras and welcome to La Conexión, the Connection. Today we're going to take a look at some of the obstacles undocumented immigrants face, some changes that have been made to the immigration regulations, and some resources that are available right here in Delaware. Pamela Stamp from the Castro firm is joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Let's start off with telling reviewers more or less some of the obstacles that undocumented immigrants face here in Delaware that are trying to gain citizenship.
Well, yes, and one of the things we have noticed that many of the undocumented immigrants trying to access an immigration benefit have to first determine which category of benefits are available to them. The immigration law is notoriously complex, and you have to fall in one of the designated categories to be able to benefit, such as either family-based or employment-based. The employment-based category, for example, tends to prefer those who are highly skilled, persons with master's degrees, doctorates, or persons of distinguished laurel nature in their profession. Whereas for family-based, even though it may be more readily available, there are still numerical limits as to availability of visas. And this can be a tremendous obstacle depending on your country of origin, such as one of the common ones from Mexico or Philippines, and depending on the category that you fall in, the wait time can often be enormous.
Right, and some other stressors too. If like a mother or father comes to the States and tries to gain employment and then wants to bring their children over or other relatives, that can also be an obstacle as well.
Absolutely, because there is a common misconception, for example, that if you have a family member who is a U.S. citizen, such as a spouse or a child, then it can give you certain automatic status. It does not, unfortunately. And so you have that separation that can occur because one family member is here, but they have no ability to petition for the other relatives to be able to come to join them. And unfortunately, until we have comprehensive immigration reform, some of these obstacles, really there is no foreseeable solution for them.
And also some of the kids become translators in a sense too, because the parents do not speak English, and so then the kids go to school here, they learn the language, and then therefore they become the translator in their home, during doctor visits, how they pay the bills.
They become the de facto intermediaries for their parents. And what we have been encouraging, certainly all of the undocumented immigrants we come in contact with, make use of the advantages to do the ESL programs, for example, to be able to ensure that you can communicate. Take advantage of opportunities to ensure if you're employed, to get an individual taxpayer identification number so that you can pay your taxes and do the things that would put you in a better spot in the event that you do qualify for an immigration benefit.
And being an undocumented immigrant has a lot of fear factors. And so when one proceeds to become legal, there's a lot of documentation involved. What are some of the changes that have been made through the immigration regulations?
Well, again, the immigration legislation is a constantly evolving creature, but we have had recently some improvements to assist. In 2012, in June, we had a provision introduced commonly termed deferred action, and this really was designed to assist those younger undocumented immigrants, those who came to the U.S. before age 16. But again, there are specific criteria which must be met for you to qualify. So, for example, you have to ensure that you have either been enrolled in school, have completed a GED program, or are enrolled in a GED program. You must demonstrate that you have been continuously residing in the U.S. for 5 years prior to the introduction of that provision. So from June 2007 to June 2012, you have to demonstrate through evidence that you have been continuously residing. Plus, you have the moral characteristics that are impacted by this, so that if you have criminal charges, that may prevent you from being able to benefit from this deferred action program. But the good thing is that it does allow you now to get employment authorization if you're approved, something which was not available before. And through this, some can get a driver's license, which many of the young undocumented immigrants are eager to obtain to assist them in their employment goals.
And one must think, okay, why a driver's license? Well, a lot of these undocumented immigrants are also driving cars to their place of employment, so that is a major ID card that they need with them.
Absolutely,
Obviously, insurance
yes.
purposes and things of that nature.
It then becomes very valuable from that standpoint. So that is one aspect that has been introduced. Also in 2013, in March, we had a second program which was introduced to assist those who have spouses or parents who are U.S. citizens who would normally have the ability to petition for them. But because they have incurred unlawful presence, they would have had to depart the U.S. and remain out of the U.S. for a processing time of sometimes 6 months up to 2 years before an immigrant visa would be able to be issued for them. And this now has been impacted by the new provisional unlawful presence waiver program, where they can remain in the U.S. And apply for this provisional unlawful presence. And if approved, then they can return, get the visa issued at the consulate and return with a visa now issued to them. Merely a matter of weeks rather than months to years of waiting time. So again, this is certainly something that has been of benefit to the community in Delaware, because a number of persons we have seen have sought to benefit from these changes.
And what are some of the shortfalls?
Well, there are some for deferred action, for example. As much as you get employment authorization, as much as you can get a driver's license, it does not give you a path to citizenship. And that is the deficiency. Because you may, as a student, have now the ability to complete your high school education, but because you're not a citizen, you can't apply for federal loans, federal grants to assist you in moving on to the next level of education where you're trying to get them. So you've been given a half measure, as it were. And really, this is why we still desire all of the benefits under the DREAM Act and through the immigration reform. Once you get a program that involves moving you on a path to citizenship, that is really where the ultimate benefit lies.
And speaking of benefits, let's talk about some of the resources that are available here in Delaware and through the Castro firm. I know you guys are doing some things as well.
Yes, absolutely. We have, at the Castro firm, have tried to impact the community through information and education. One of the greatest deficiencies we have seen, and one of the drawbacks, is that many persons go to the wrong source for information. So you have many in the community who are so-called notarios, who are not trained immigration attorneys and may give advice which can negatively impact your immigration applications. And we have seen clients where it has put them in a more detrimental position because of acting on such advice. So we have tried to host numerous seminars and workshops really to get accurate information available. I tell clients all the while, it does not hurt just to check to make sure, is the path that I'm pursuing, is it correct? Is it going to be to my advantage, or is it going to put me in further jeopardy of being, landing in deportation or removal proceedings? And so this is what we have tried to implement, because even for the legal fraternity, we have found many clients who have been faced with criminal charges, who have been told, it's not a problem. You can go and plead guilty. It's a minor offense. You'll be given probation, and that will be the end of it. But unfortunately for them, because they're undocumented, even though it may be a suspended sentence, it may be probation, they never serve a day of actual jail time, but the consequences can be catastrophic, because those criminal charges remain on the record for immigration purposes, and many have indeed landed them in deportation proceedings. So this is why we're trying so vigorously to ensure that the information is accurately disseminated to the community. We've done some workshops before in conjunction with some great partners we have through the LACC, through La Esperanza, through the United Way programs, and these have been great partners with us in helping to get these benefits out there. Our next immigration seminar is in fact going to be at the LACC on July the 7th at 4 p.m. So all are invited. It's free. You can come out, get your immigration questions answered by a trained immigration attorney.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Pamela. I really appreciate it.
Thank you ever so much for having us. We look forward to hopefully being back when we do have comprehensive immigration reform bill passed, and we can then allow benefits to spread to many more undocumented immigrants in our community.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure they're looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll return after these short messages.
No está nada mal.
¿Y qué tiene de raro? Bueno, la práctica hace el maestro.
No tienes que ser perfecto para ser un padre perfecto. Hay miles de adolescentes en foster care que no necesitan perfección, te necesitan a ti.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Now, Delaware Latino families can obtain financial planning resources through a program led by the state of Delaware and United Way, and it's actually called Stand By Me Hispano. But what some of you may not know is that Stand By Me already exists. And I have here with us Mary DuPont. Can you tell us a little bit about the Stand By Me program and then now its new program, Stand By Me Hispano?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us on and for giving us this opportunity to let everybody know about Stand By Me. Stand By Me is a joint project of the state, as you said, and United Way, and it's a priority of Governor Jack Markell, who is a big champion on the issues of financial inclusion. And so for many years, long before he became governor, he felt that this was very important, that all Delawareans have access to information and resources to help them to make the right decisions and to be able to live the American dream. So when he was elected, we started Stand By Me. Okay. And the main service that we offer is personal financial coaching. So what we all have in common with a millionaire now in Delaware is that we have a chance to work with somebody one-on-one to help us to figure out what are our challenges, what are our goals, and how are we going to achieve those goals when it comes to our money.
And this is wonderful for the Hispanic community. A lot of us, we don't have that much guidance already when it comes to the Spanish-speaking audience. So now that you've provided a program for the Hispanic people, what was the interest there? What sparked the interest?
Well, we work with all Delawareans, so we don't, we have no criteria in terms of, income or race or ethnicity. And what we try to do is we really look at where are the greatest needs. And there's such a big, growing Hispanic community in the state of Delaware. And we know that all Delawareans have the need to be able to talk to somebody and get information that's reliable when it comes to making decisions about their money. Okay. But we knew that, especially in the Hispanic community, we saw that there were challenges that especially undocumented immigrants have when it comes to having access to information and resources. And it's different for them than it is for maybe other Americans, because they are trying to support two families, one here and one in their home country. And how do you split up your money to be able to do that? Or you have multiple families living under one roof, and how do you share expenses? Or the American financial services is so complicated for all of us. And if you're from another country, it's 1,000 times worse. How do you navigate all of that? So we saw a need, and we decided to partner with the Delaware Hispanic Commission, the Latin American Community Center, La Esperanza, and the Department of Education ESL programs, so that we can reach the community and help them with these.
Y yo tengo conmigo Duni, who's going to tell us the details in Spanish about this wonderful program. Duni, ¿puede decir en español los detalles de este programa?
Básicamente nosotros somos un programa que estamos cubriendo todas las necesidades para los hispanos, inmigrantes en Delaware. nosotros estamos queriendo llegar a cada persona hispana en Delaware que tenga o no tenga documento. Todas estas personas califican para nuestro programa. Todas estas personas tienen necesidades financieras que cumplir y todas estas personas están que no saben dónde acudir. Entonces nosotros estamos acá disponibles para ayudarle a cumplir sus metas financieras. Nosotros estamos aquí en Delaware buscando las personas que tengan necesidades para, si quieren enviar dinero a su familia, no saben cómo hacerlo, ni dónde, ni cuántos son los costos. Si quieren enviar a sus niños, si esas son sus preocupaciones, a la universidad y no saben cómo hacerlo, no tengo dinero para hacerlo, no sé cómo hacerlo, nosotros estamos acá. Si quieren comprar su casa, su propiedad por primera vez, nosotros ayudamos con todo esto. Tenemos tantas formas de ayudar a los hispanos. También podemos ayudarlos a abrir sus cuentas de ahorro. También podemos ayudarlos a establecer un crédito. Básicamente nosotros ahorita estamos ofreciendo a través del Centro Latino, porque estamos trabajando para el Centro Latino directamente por Stand By Me, y nosotros tenemos lo que es una consejería personalizada, confidencial y gratuita para cada persona que esté en Delaware y en español. Es lo más importante, que las personas se identifiquen con su propio idioma, básicamente, y también tenemos sesiones educativas. En inglés dicen workshop y en español decimos sesiones educativas, que son para enseñar a las personas que puedan manejar el sistema financiero americano, que puedan conocer cómo funciona el sistema americano en los Estados Unidos.
¿Y por qué eso está importante?
Es importante porque las personas vienen a este país con un sueño americano. Las personas no saben cómo cumplirlo. Las personas no saben cómo llegar. El sistema financiero de otros países o de nuestros países que nacimos es diferente al sistema financiero en Estados Unidos. Entonces no comprenden cómo funciona la economía americana, el sistema financiero americano. Por tanto, y más, nosotros estamos acá para enseñarle, para ayudarlo a navegar a través del sistema financiero americano, para que ellos puedan lograr sus metas, lograr sus sueños y que no inviertan su dinero en un negocio y que al final del día no puedan lograr su gran sueño americano. Entonces nosotros estamos acá un poquito para ayudar a que ellos puedan cumplir su sueño americano.
¿Y puede explicar el proceso si alguien quiere buscar sus servicios?
Nosotros estamos ubicados en el Centro Latinoamericano y la dirección es 301 North Harrison Street y el número de teléfono es el 655-7338 y ahí estamos con la página web del Centro Latino y la de Stand By Me Hispano, que es www.hispano.standbyme.com.
Gracias por esa información.
Mucho
And
gusto.
thank you so much, Mary and Duny. I really appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time here. And we've actually had the fortune to attend the premiere launch of the program at the Latin American Community Center. And during the press conference, we had some testimonies from some of these individuals who are getting these resources at the Latin American Community Center. I'm going to leave you with this, and we'll return after these short messages.
I've been working with Duny for the past, or Duny has been working with me for the past going on 3 months. When I first met Duny, it was like I was somebody else. I was a person that was in a lot of needs. Financially, I was on the floor. Duny has been working with me. I thank him. Nowadays, I am happy. I have a car. I have a nice car too. I don't have to take the bus no more or walk. I have credit cards. I have the most important thing, a savings account. I am very, very happy.
Fui por una pregunta aquí al Centro Latino y bueno, aquí conocí a Duneski. Entonces, bueno, la verdad es, me habló de un programa. Lastimosamente en las escuelas nunca nos enseñan de economía. Simplemente nos enseñan a gastar dinero. Nosotros los padres le damos dinero a nuestros hijos, los hijos van y lo gastan rápidamente. Pero este programa es excelente para que nosotros podamos aprender cómo tener una economía eficiente para poder llevar nuestros gastos.
Me agrada el programa porque nunca había escuchado de un programa así y es interesante porque podemos nosotros como padres como tener información para darle a nuestros hijos y ellos no lleven los mismos problemas que tenemos nosotros como padres. Muy bueno.
And I like this program because I've never heard of a program like this before. And I especially like it because I, as a parent, can teach my children so that they don't have the same issues that we do when it comes to the finances.
The knowledge that I give people now really empowers them, okay? I tell them, you know, the bank or whoever, creditor, wants to make you feel that they have power over you. And I tell them that is not the case. You have the power. It is your wallet. It is your purse. You decide where your money goes, okay? And so, you know, if I can tell them, look, these are what interest rates are. This is what a collection practice does. This is, you know, how you can get to where you want to get to. It's just an honor for me to be able to help people with all of that.
$7,000 estudiantes de secundaria abandonan la escuela todos los días. Esto forma una línea de más de 4 millas de largo. Podemos mantener a los estudiantes en la escuela. Visita boostop.org y toma el primer paso.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Delaware Stars for Early Learning has actually recognized the Latin American Community Center for the highest quality award you can get through its program. I have here with me Melissa Brown, who's going to tell us a little bit about the early learning programs provided at the Latin American Community Center and the process it took for them to actually get recognized by these 2 awards from the program, the Delaware Stars for Early Success. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful having you. Let's start off with the actual program, Delaware Stars for Early Success. It's a quality rating and improvement system administered by the Delaware Department of Education. And from my understanding, there are vigorous things that they go through to actually give you a level 5 star, and that's what you received at the Latin American Community Center?
Yes, that is correct. There is everything from the environment of the classroom to the way in which teachers are interacting with students, as well as just really minute things such as the way things are cleaned and the way things are stored, and kind of procedural stuff in which we interact with families and in which we interact with our students.
Yes, those were the 4 components. For those who are unaware, it's a Riggerman process here, but the involvement with in partnership with the family, the community, you have the curriculum, you have professional development for the teachers.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the environment. You
Sure.
received a level 5, so give us a picture of what the environment's like for these children at the LACC Learning Center.
Sure. So this has been a 2-year journey for the Latin American Community Center, in which we really took, as leadership at the LACC, a hard look kind of at what our students needed and what that would take to get to this Star 5 level. 2 of the things that we made decisions about were, 1, the language of instruction. So our birth through 2-year-olds actually are full Spanish immersion. They learn in Spanish all day, and their teachers only speak Spanish to them, and that is for students who are both native and non-native speakers who are in our program. They do transition to a dual language model actually in their pre-K3 classroom and continue that in their pre-K4 classroom. This was a decision based on the fact that we could not guarantee that all kids would be going to dual language schools or to Spanish-speaking schools once they entered elementary school. So we thought that period would give them the transition for those specifically who are native Spanish speakers to attain their English proficiency that they would need in the school environment.
Okay.
And then additionally, we actually adopted the expeditionary learning model, which is a project-based approach to instruction, and it's a part of a network of 160 schools across the country. The Latin American Community Center is actually the first birth to 5 program. There are some pre-K programs, but we are the first within the network to implement this with our youngest learners.
And this is a high achievement for the Latin American Community Center. As you mentioned, it's only been 2 years, and previously, the center had received a number 2, and now it's number 5, but for 2 different programs. So can you speak about the ECAP and the EDC programs offered at LACC?
So ECAP actually stands for Early Childhood Assistance Program, which is the state-funded version of Head Start. So we follow all the Head Start guidelines, and that is actually a funding stream. So there is a certain percentage of our kids who qualify for that program, but the ECAP program is actually within our Early Development Center. So they are licensed separately, but they run the exact same programs within them. So we went through that process with both of those programs.
And as the Vice President for the Life Learning Department, what does this mean for your center to receive such an award twice in 1 year?
So, I mean, I think, obviously there are the benefits that are received through the Delaware Star system, financial incentives, but at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that we are providing our kids high quality early learning that's going to prepare them for the elementary and middle and high school environments that they're entering into. We're in a time in education where standards are increasing, and it's really important for the kids who come through our program that they walk in the doors of their elementary schools prepared and ready to learn and excited about learning, and that's one of the reasons why expeditionary learning is such a great model for us to implement.
And it is a great model. And speaking about quality education, what are some of the improvements you feel the center made to jump from a 2 to a 5-star level?
Sure. So there's a huge commitment from teachers. A lot of our teachers are going back to school. They're really committed to making sure that they're improving themselves as teachers and their commitment to their kids. We've also really worked hard to ensure that the teachers are getting the support. So we actually have instructional coaches now that work on a regular basis with our teachers to give them feedback and to work on lesson plans with them, and really not from a negative evaluation standpoint, but provide them feedback so that they're able to improve their practice.
And why should a parent bring their child to this quality 5-star program?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a really unique place in which we are providing a service that not many other early development centers, specifically in the city, have in terms of just our teachers are really passionate about what they do. The children are gaining that proficiency in both Spanish and English, and they're in an environment in which the kids really get to direct their learning in a project-based environment.
Wonderful. And if a parent wanted to have their child involved in these programs offered at the LACC, what should they do?
Sure. So if you go to our website, www.thelatincenter.org, you can find applications on our early development homepage.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa. And on behalf of all of us here at WITN Channel 22, I'm Yesenia Taveras. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.